And this is where I'm going. The fundamental difference between the mathetes, that's a disciple, which we've been comparing, a mathetes and a matus, lie primarily on the focus, right? The focus is that a mathetes is a learner or apprentice. And what that means is that it takes an inward focus on growth. So what Jesus called his disciple, the people he called disciple, was that they will sit down with him and they will learn, and then they will have cultivated a culture or been indoctrinated in the ways of Christ. Because again, the kingdom with which Jesus came to preach was not what they were used to, all right? So he came to preach to them something that was entirely new and different. So Jesus needed them to be with him, and he would have taught them the way of the kingdom, how God's process information in that regard. So the key fundamental between a mathetes and a matus was that a mathetes had access to the information or the learning processes or the tutorage of a tutor or a mentor or a discipler or his master, right? And so he sat under him as an apprentice. So apprentice system is that when I'm an apprentice, I should graduate from apprenticeship. Is that correct? Yes. So that's the point we are making. And so that's the primary thing. Though the focus was entirely taking in intake of doctrine, learning the ways of Jesus, learning the principles of Jesus, learning the principles of the kingdom, and they walk with Jesus. They see how Jesus cast out the demon. They see how Jesus worked miracles. The matus, in the other hand, is a witness or one who testifies, and this will have to do with outward focus on testimony. That is to say, a person who first of all sat down with Jesus for an inward training will have the capacity to demonstrate the power of the gospel outwardly. Do you understand what we're saying? So that's the point we're making. So first of all, it was that he called them to be at his feet, but that the entire enterprise was that when Jesus will no longer be present, they will be the one going out by themselves to testify of the thing that Jesus taught them. And so that was the idea. So a matus is someone who now do the outward testifying of Jesus. He's the one who goes about, talked about what Jesus taught them in the secret, in the privates. And so that's the key difference. So there was an outward thing. So a natural progressive relationship exists between them. That's the them now is between a mathetes and a matus, often moving from a committed learner to testifying witness.